I used to suck at putting, and about 6 months ago I started doing a drill that transformed my putting into the biggest strength in my game. The best part is that all you really need is 2 golf balls, a putter, and a living room rug. I thought that was gonna be so much cooler than it actually was. Guys, welcome to week 49 of my journey to scratch. I mentioned very early on when I started my YouTube channel that putting was by far the weakest part of my game, and somehow fast forward 49 weeks, it's now become probably my strongest part of my game. And it's really all because of this one drill that I like to do at home. But before I show you guys what the drill is, I feel like I need to give you a bit of background as to how I came up with it and why I had to come up with it. So to do that, we need to bring this guy into the equation. A lot of us have these types of putting mats that pretty much have a hole in a straight line, and it's usually like a 6-foot putt or something like that. If you're anything like me, you know, I used to spend like hours putting on these putting mats, and then the next day I would go out and play and still miss a bunch of 3, 4, and 5 footers. While I was trying to figure out how to improve my putting, I read Putting Out of Your Mind by Dr. Bob Rotella, which if you guys haven't read this book, I think it's one of the best putting books out there, and you can actually listen to it for free on YouTube. So I'll link that at the very end of this video so you can go check that out. But while I was reading it, you know, one of the main points that he makes, it's like, you know, get yourself out of your head, you know, try to be a little bit more athletic and just focus on the start line. And while I was thinking about that, it made me realize that all the practice that I was putting on the putting mat was kind of being wasted, because the putting mat's really good for certain things, but it's also really, really bad for certain things. And what I mean by that, it's like it's really good for like repetition, right? And just getting in a bunch of reps. So say you're changing your putting grip or something like that, it's really good for that because you're gonna get a bunch of reps in. But it's terrible for imagining your start line. And that's a skill in its own. And I think it's one of the most important things in putting, especially within 10 feet, is to kind of visualize your start line and visualize the line all the way up to the hole. Of course, with a putting mat like that, you pretty much have it there for you. So it's making your brain think that that's not important. So the more I thought about that, I was like, okay, how can I sort of replicate that skill so that I can practice it at home? And what I did and what I came up with was this kind of putting drill that I do on a regular like living room rug. So I used to have a coffee table over this in my last apartment. I ended up just selling it because I don't even have a TV up in my studio. So yeah, so I do this almost on a daily basis, and the game is super, super simple. All you really need is obviously a rug like this. You need your putter. Grab 2 golf balls, and I like having an alignment stick so that in case I miss the ball, it doesn't go off the rug. But that's just a personal preference. You don't really need that if you don't have one. And the game is super simple. I am trying to visualize my start line by kind of focusing on these short putts, and by not having a line that tells me exactly how to, you know, attack my golf ball to get it to the hole. So my target becomes my golf ball, and then the other golf ball is obviously the one I putt with. The point of the game is to try to keep advancing the ball forward. Obviously, the more I advance it, the further the putt becomes, the harder it is, and you're trying to accumulate as many points as possible. Usually once I reach the end and it hits the alignment stick, I'll bring the ball back and start over while still accumulating points. So the most I've ever done in a row is like 22. When I first started this, I would miss even these 2.5-foot putts. But yeah, so and I like moving kind of from the left to the right hand side and alternating between both sides of the rug so that I'm not constantly going over kind of the same spot. You know, let's do a couple of these together. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but let's see. There we go. So we advance it. So now that, which was a 2.5-foot putt, now becomes about a 3-footer. Come over to the right-hand side. I like standing behind the ball, kind of visualizing the line, setting up to it, and then hitting the putt. And as you see, I just barely nicked it. To me, that's good enough. Obviously, a golf ball is a lot smaller than a hole. So as long as we hit the ball, that's all I care about. I don't have to hit it hard. I don't have to worry too much about speed. All I care about is hitting the ball, because all we're focusing on and we're kind of just isolating is the start line, right? So, and I think this is a really good way of practicing if the start line is something that you need to focus on, because it sort of removes a lot of variables, right? Like you can do this on a putting green, but you're gonna have slope to worry about. You may have grain to worry about. You may have wind to worry about. We're indoors. It's kind of a controlled environment, and all we're focused on is the start line, which I personally believe is the reason I've gotten so much better at putting. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I know it was a pretty quick video, but quite honestly, I just wanted to document it because it really has helped me out a lot when it comes to putting. It's built up my confidence inside of 6 feet, and then that confidence has really translated over to 20-foot putts and in. Like, I feel like the more confident and comfortable you feel over 6-footers, the more freedom you're gonna have in any putt beyond that distance. Obviously, this is mostly just for short putts and trying to hole it. You still have to go to a practice green to practice your lag putting, which I think lag putting is even more important than this. But the short putts, I feel like, will help you out a lot to just kind of keep the momentum of a round going. But yeah, guys, I know it was a bit of a shorter video and kind of weird having it here in my living room, but I really just wanted to document this in case that I go away from it in the future. I can always come back and remember that this really helped me out a lot. And of course, hopefully it helps you guys out as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you drop a like. It helps out my channel significantly. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe, introduce yourself down below. I would love to hear all about your golf journeys and how your golf seasons are going so far. But yeah, with that said, guys, I love you all so much. I hope you're playing some really good golf out there. Have a blessed weekend, blessed week, and I'll catch you guys next Friday. Take care, y'all.